Well guys, here we are, part 15 of the office project. Of course, in our last, video, you've seen us paint the cupboard doors, hang the cupboard doors, and all that good stuff that went along with them. Well, to save you the boredom of watching paint dry a second time, I went through and touched up the trim, as well as the doors got painted as well. So now all the trim, the white trim, is now the same color as the cabinets, and the doors have been sanded and recoated pretty much in their final what do you want to call her as well. If I wanted to get fussy, I could scuff and shoot, scuff and repaint, touch up some of the minor blemishes on that, but they're just a cupboard. They don't really it's not like it's in a fancy kitchen or nothing, but she's all hung. They're all pretty much good to go, and just a matter of putting on the hardware for the cupboard doors, and the cupboards will be done. In this episode, what I want to get done is reinstalling the backsplash. I know I put it on a little while ago, but I had to pull it up to make an adjustment on the desktop, of course. And after that's installed, what I'm wanting to do is install this little trim here along the leading edge of the desktop right in here. And once that's installed, pretty much then we're good to go to give her a paint. I'm not 100% sure quite what color to go with yet. I'm probably just going to paint them the same color as the cupboards, the base cupboards themselves. Then that way they're not too dark or nothing, and it's not too much of a contrast against the desktop. And like I said there, I need to measure up and in for whichever's comfortable for the doorknobs for the doors themselves, of course, on the top and the bottom all the way around. As well as once those are all installed, if I do have time, then I'm going to do touch-ups back on the walls everywhere. I've done little nicks to it, as well as touch-ups to the trim and a few things like that. Still need to paint the main doors, as well as install the doorknobs into the main doors. But like I said, guys, she's coming along fairly well when you consider just a few weeks ago this was totally upside down and wasn't planned to be a project right now. It was planned to be a winter project in the dead of winter when there's nothing to do. But guys, of course, let's get at her. We'll start by firing up and plugging in the old Porter cable air compressor with our Porter cable brad nailer. And we'll start installing the backsplash and, kind of see where that, takes us. So guys, of course, working on the desktop here. Started working on the trim for the leading edge of the desktop. I have 3 sides trimmed out, just working on the 4th side here. Of course, I already got me piece all cut here. Just going to, lay it in, test fit her. She's fitting about where I want her to. Now, what I'm wanting to do is put this piece up, button up, flush with the top of the countertop material here, and then put a couple of nails in her. So what I'll do, guys, is I'll put one nail in to hold her, and then we'll put another one in together. So what we're wanting to do here is bring the molding up there till it touches the bottom of the level. Then that way she is flush with the desktop themselves. So pretty much we're good to go to put a nail in her. So I'll pound a couple of nails in this, and then I'll check back in. So guys, as you see here, got the backsplash all attached all the way around the desktop. Got the border here, the nice leading edge of the desktop, all secured and all that, of course. And if you're wondering what the brown stuff is on there, the tan stuff, of course, that's just hole filler and all that to fill all the brad nail holes. Like I said there, she's coming along fairly well. Just need to let this dry and then we can give her a sand and she'll be ready for paint. In the meantime, while I'm waiting for it to dry, I'm going to build myself a little jig or whatever you want to call her to install my doorknobs on with, my door pulls on with, of course, because I want them all the same, you know, width and back setting and all that good stuff as well. So I'm going to build me a little thingamajig so all the holes will all be the same. And pretty much, you know, line it up, drill your hole, insert your knob, and away she goes. So guys, once the nail filler and that's all dry, you can go around and give her a sand. Of course, you don't want to really sand it all off. You just want to make sure that there's no high spot or nothing like that. Make sure the seams are all, you know, addressed, all filled, as well as the, you know, head of the nail is hidden, and any other imperfections is all took care of. And pretty much once that's done, you know, she's give her a bit of a wipe down, and she's ready for paint. So guys, while we're trying to decide on a paint color here, you know, using what we have in stock for paint, we're going to start installing the knobs on the cupboard doors. So guys, rather than making a fancy little jig to line up the holes, being it's just one single hole rather than two holes like for a handle or so, I just did the measuring method, the 1 and 3. Of course, 3 inches up and 1 inches in. Measured all the way around the room on the doorknob, on the doors, and giving her an eyeball. She looks like she's fairly square. Looks like everything is about where she needs to be. This one door right in front of me here needs a little bit of an adjustment, but other than that, she's, you know, good to go. As you see there, it's a little wide at the bottom and tight at the top for the crack. But we'll tear into our package of knobs here and start the install. So guys, all the cupboard door knobs and everything are all installed, all drilled, all you know, tightened down and good to go. So you know, they turned out fairly well. They turned out you know, pretty much good. Probably going to end up masking off and moving on to the paint here on the desktop. Get that all painted and you know, cleaned up and done with. Then you know, like I said, we're into the final stages where once that is dry, we can start on touch-ups to the trim and touch-ups to little areas on you know, the walls themselves. But yeah guys, this is kind of the stage of the game where everything really starts to come together and you can really see your master vision that you actually had from conception, if you will, to completion here. You know, with the exception of you know, the desktop being cut short from there, you know, to here being cut back, and a slight variation in the color change of the cupboards themselves. This is all pretty much what I had originally visioned. I wasn't happy with the color that was originally chosen for the cupboards because it would have made it too dark in here. Keep in mind, this is a small room. You know, we don't want something like super dark, like right in your face. So that's why I went with the off-white color. It looks white against these walls, but it's actually, you know, darker. And then the sandy type for the doors, and it really actually makes a balance. And then with the dark doorknobs or door handles, it actually throws, you know, everything all together. But guys, of course, let's get cleaned up here and then we'll break out the paint. Well guys, so once the desktop is all masked off and everything like that, and you've chosen the color that you're going to use, of course I'm going to go with the same color as the cupboards. on the camera here it does look lighter than it really is. So it's kind of, like I said, like a kind of a, I don't know, a linen color or whatever you want to call her. But that's the color I'm going to use for the desktop, you know, backsplash if you will, and the trim around it just to darken it up from the white. And pretty much once that's all brushed and dried, the next step is applying a little bit of you know, caulking around the edge here between the molding and the desktop, just to keep it from collecting you know, odds and bits and bytes and stuff, of course, just to keep it all you know, sealed. I know it's not a countertop or nothing, but it still needs to be, you know, reasonable. But yeah, guys, let's get at painting here and see how she's finished giving her the first coat of whatever you want to call her, off-white or sandy color here. Of course, just letting her dry, and you know, then we'll give her another coat. Then after that second coat, we'll see how she looks. Maybe have to give her a third. But this stuff was already pre-primed, of course, so it shouldn't take much to cover. But it's looking pretty good, guys. As I said there earlier, she's coming together in the finishing stages here. But hopefully by the next couple of days or so, I can you know, complete the project and, you know, finalize everything here, and, you know, get her all back to what's you know, supposed to be normal. Well, guys, just finished the second coat of paint. Just pulled the tape off of the, you know, around the wall there, just so it didn't you know, cause any major issues or anything like that. Of course, I got to do a little bit of touch up to the brown on the wall, of course, in some areas tomorrow. But all in all, she's you know, looking pretty good. She's covering fairly well. I'll let this dry a little more, and then we'll go over it again, just giving it a spot touch where she needs her now. But yeah, I wanted to get that tape off the wall because, well, the longer you leave it on there, the more chance you're going to have of it, you know, sticking and causing issues. But yeah, guys, actually, you know, when you stand back and look at it, going with the lighter color actually does, you know, look fairly well. It actually blends in, you know, nice, not too dark, not too light. And like I said, the whole concept was to lighten up the room a bit instead of having all dark, kind of make a balance. But guys, of course, we'll let this dry and then give her a spot touch where needed. So guys, of course, the next step after the desktop is all painted and dry, you know, and she's all cleaned up and all that, is to move on to the exterior doors. So, of course, got a wonderful day out here in front of us, of course, and going to use Mother Nature's workshop to paint these doors. So, of course, this one in front of us, the narrower one, is off the closet. And this guy here is the main door into the office itself. And they all need to be sanded as well as you know, repainted as well. And while I'm at her, I'm probably going to take my sander. And if you can notice the mark here, I need to take probably 1/8 of an inch off this door where it shifted a little bit to get it to shut properly. And probably a little bit off of this little edge here as well. And same with the closet door here. I'm going to take a little bit off of this edge all the way along, again to make it close properly. And painting, of course, on both sides after giving it a good old sanding. And once the paint is dry, drill out the door handle, the doorknob, to fit the standard new style doorknob. But just going to gear up here, guys, grab my sander and all that good stuff, and pretty much get at her. So guys, I've given the doors a bit of a sand, both sides, of course, edges and all that good stuff. Also took me the belt sander along the leading edge here, and took her down like 1/8 or whatever. Hopefully that's enough. If not, I'll have to sand her while hanging in the house. As well as I did take the sander off the edge here, and took just a little bit off of that leading edge on the closet door, just to you know, keep it from binding a little bit. Again, hopefully that works. Well guys, let's dig out our paint stuff, and hopefully we can get a good coat on here before she cools down. So guys, just finished giving the doors their first coat of paint on one side. They're of course drying now. It's still warm enough that I might be able to get a second coat on for sure. Probably won't be able to flip it until tomorrow and do the other side, but hey, this is definitely a start anyways. But of course, while they're drying, you know, you can do a number of things. One being, you know, watching YouTube videos or eating supper or whatever. The other is, of course, painting like the trim and stuff like that around the door jamb themselves. So guys, let's go back inside, and I'll show you what I'm meaning. So guys, here we are, of course, back in the old office, and you see in front of us the closet. Now, of course, if you look way back in the back, it is still the room color. It never really got painted the, you know, color of the walls, right? So what I'm going to do is paint the jamb, you know, the same color right here, carry it through into and probably back to, you know, somewhere around here. Then that way when the door is shut, you do not see that ugly white line all the way around. Of course, I probably could just cheat, if you will, and just paint this leading edge here and worry about painting the inside at a later date. But hey, you know, while you got the brush going, while you got the paint out, you might as well, you know, do it all, right? So of course over here we have our wonderful bear, you know, chocolate or whatever you want to call her, paint. And yeah, she's been sitting obviously for a few months and already started to separate. So we'll give her a good old stir here and kind of get her all good and mixed back up, and then we'll start painting. So guys, what I'll do is I'll give her a good old stir here, and when we start painting, I'll give another little update. So guys, well, the door jamb here is getting dried on the first coat, rather of course than you know, get some multitask action going here, and of course gonna go out and give the doors another coat. So guys, of course, you know, the name of the game here is to get things done as efficiently as possible. So let's go out, slap some more coat on them outside doors there, and then we'll come back in and do another coat on the jamb. So guys, of course, this is the next day. We lost our heat yesterday. That's the way it is this time of year. But I flipped the doors, give them a wipe down. The other side looks acceptable, so no real big issues there. But I'm gonna give her a good coat of paint, and hopefully it'll dry enough that we can hang them today. And like I mentioned, they're drilling out the doorknob hole to the whatever it is, 2 1/8 or whatever size. So guys, of course, we got our you know, handy dandy paintbrush and well experienced you know, paint trays. So we'll pretty much get at her. And yeah, everybody has their own method of painting, and some people say that you shouldn't use, you know, a roller and all that stuff to get everything you know, painted, but I find that the roller method for me works fairly well. What I like to do is put on not a lot of paint, but enough paint, and then what I do is I back roll it afterwards to you know, smooth, or I guess smooth everything out. But guys, of course, I'm going to you know, coat this, and then I don't know, see how it goes from there. So guys, of course we gave the doors a coat, so now back in here just testing out the trim to make sure she's dry enough to retouch. And she's tacky, but it'll recoat. So pretty much now it's time to give her another coat. Of course, it'll cover better now. Being a second coat, it'll start to you know, fill in the streaks and that. And if she needs a third one, we'll give her a third one. You know, she's you know, covering fairly well. Of course, some areas are still a little bit where they're thicker, a little bit moister, but you know, we'll cover that when we get there. So guys, I've given the doors a good old coat of paint. They're of course just drying. It's not as warm as I hoped it to be, so they'll take a little longer to bake. That's one of the nice parts about latex, is it seems to dry better than the oil paint. They still feel a bit cold, like humid, kind of a cold, so they don't feel like a dry, you know, texture yet. So I'm gonna assume that they're, as well as you know, it'll take a little bit to dry on that. So, but guys, of course, you know, this was the office reno part 15, where you know, we got things painted and kind of semi-buttoned up and all that good stuff. And but once these doors are dried, then we can move on to part 16. So as always, thanks for watching Maxwell's World. Comment, subscribe, and enjoy.